I'm looking at the request to speak. There are 3 hands raised, but I can't 4 now, and I can't see their names though.
Yeah. I'm in that boat too. Here, maybe it's on mobile. You must.
I'll leave the stage and see if
the
that
latest
helps.
version. Yeah, Discord broke it somehow.
I just noticed if I step off stage, I can see who's actually has their hand raised. That brought Right Ranger up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I don't know if you do that, it might rug the room though.
All right, we got Hefe, we got White Ranger. Hey guys.
GM.
I think that was all the request.
GM.
The joys of next.
Yeah, I noticed
Party
from
at
my
John
Discord.
Gotchi's house.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna go find John Gotchi.
On
John
my
Gotchi,
Discord,
can
I
you drop
noticed
the
the
coordinates to your place?
Party at John's? Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Party at John's house.
Is the hot zone enabled at this point? Or...
Let me check with the devs. Should be.
Okay, let's get these gotchis ready.
GM, everybody.
GM.
Gotchi Emperor, did you just take back a gotchi? Okay, if anyone raises their hand, just like ping me in the weekly hangout, and I'll step off stage because then I can see whose hand is raised and bring you up.
Where's John Gotchi's house?
Drop your coordinates, friend.
Yeah, you can get those by doing F3, function 3. And you can drop those if you'd like. Spillover is active. Got confirmation.
Yes.
From Mark Gotchi. So he's in where? District, is that on the west side? I don't want to have to schlep over there. Anyone know where John Gotchi is? Looks like, okay, I see him on the map there. Looks like, okay, I know that area. That's a good area.
John, can you give us the coordinates for that? If you just go F3, it'll show you that.
Looks like he's in District 3 at the bottom middle. I was just looking at the picture.
Oh, okay. District 3.
FOMO flipped alpha already, right? Or is it still flipped?
That's pretty crazy.
So, like, I shouldn't be, I can look. They're almost like, FOMO might be better to pick up than alpha at this point.
I feel like alpha is one of those things, though, that, like, every now and then there's a huge use case for it. And it's like, oh, shit, I don't have enough.
Yeah. At one point, FOMO will drop. At one point, FOMO will drop and alpha will get kicked back up. So maybe you just want to hold your alpha.
Yeah. I mean, I've minted a few of those blue, some specific ones. I did the star and I did a couple of the diamonds. I minted those just to hang on for my mosaic.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me.
Hey, GM.
Good morning, good evening, wherever you are.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. Excited for this week, actually.
I saw. What's you guys got like a live stream coming up? What's that about?
Yeah, we have a Twitter space, and yeah, audience has been building in stealth mode for a while. So we want to share with the community what we have been working on. So we will be announcing our first service for the community, for the Aavegotchi community on Thursday, Twitter spaces. and we'll be also talking about what we'll be launching next. So yeah, very exciting times.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. You know, Orium Guild, I guess for people who don't know, maybe you could give them just a little, just a little bit about what Orium Guild is doing, you know, in Aavegotchi, and what you guys are building, maybe without giving away too much alpha, because I know you've already kind of built some tools in the community, right? And so be interesting to hear more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Orion started as a play-to-earn guild. We started very early in the play-to-earn scene in Axie Infinity. Yeah, as soon as we saw Aavegotchi and the full vision for the Gotchiverse, which was, I believe, launched last year in July with the light paper, we knew that this was going to be a big thing, and we wanted to be a part of it, right? So initially, we jumped in as a play-to-earn guild with our partnerships with the Gotchi Vault. Gotchi Vault has repeatedly said that we were one of the best performing guilds out there. We have players that they're really playing, right? It's not just you know, thousands of players that are just gonna get a few tokens and go away. Our community is very much engaged. They play lots of different games together. And yeah, by operating a guild, we saw a space for a lot of tools, right? A lot of toolings to help NFT owners either to manage their assets or to manage their loans, right? And that's essentially the new frontier that we are tackling, right? So we had this huge background as a guild, and now we are essentially building a company that's going to provide many different infrastructure tools for Aavegotchi and other play-to-earn communities. But obviously, you know, Aavegotchi is one of the most transparent, probably the most transparent project out there. I love the open source approach that it has. So we decided to focus first on Aavegotchi and then look on how we can replicate this model elsewhere.
That's really interesting that you started with Aavegotchi because of the open source factor. I guess that gives you more freedom, you know, more freedom to create on the platform without actually having to develop a lot of these things from scratch, right? I guess that would be the appeal of it, is there's already things available for you to pull and build on top
Yeah,
of.
absolutely. So I've looked at a lot of different play-to-earn games, and it's interesting how decentralization in gaming, it's not like it's not Boolean, right? It's not true or false. It's a range. You can have games that are very decentralized, that they do a lot of things on blockchains, and you can have games that, you know, they just have an NFT, and even that NFT, it's very limited what you can actually do with it. So Aavegotchi, what is awesome about it is that the entire game logic is actually on the blockchain, right? So the rules of the game, they are in the blockchain, and other projects can see those rules, figure out how to integrate with them because they are in the blockchain, right? So everyone can build smart contracts that interact with it. So yeah, that open source approach and blockchain first approach, yeah, it has really drawn us, and yeah, super bullish on Aavegotchi and everything it's being built here.
That's a good point you make with the rules of the game being on chain. That really does make it easier for not only others to see, but others to come up with their own iteration, you know, for ideas. I know one of the interesting things that you made was it was like I don't think it was something you necessarily made, but you figured out how to play Aavegotchi on a mobile phone using one of the browsers. Is that something your guild uses? You know, is that something a lot of the guildies are using? Because I know in some of these countries it's sometimes harder for some players to get access to like a full computer, right? So they rely on their phone to play these games.
Absolutely. Some lower income computers, we have a lot of users that they only have access to mobile phone. And it wasn't me that figured it out. It was our community, you know. We had when the Gotchiverse launched, we had 250 gotchis available for the community to borrow and start playing. And unfortunately, a lot of these people, they only had access through mobile phones. So they had the initiative to, you know, try to figure it out. And they did it. They created the guides. We just propagated the guides that the community built. But it's entirely credit to the scholar community in Orion. You know, those guys and figured those things out.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. I didn't realize that was from your community. That's awesome.
Yeah, we had a page. It's docs.guild.orion.network. Probably need a friendlier domain, but we had guides there in 3 different languages: in Portuguese, Spanish, and in English. We are putting up some more effort now in getting more English content out there, but the majority of the content is in Portuguese, just because the majority of the users is Brazilian, right?
Right. Yeah, you guys are primarily based out of South America, right? For the player, like the scholar side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. In the beginning, it was super Brazilian focus, like up to 90% of the community. But now we are trying to be a little more international, just because we can have a larger audience with that, right? We have also seen that, with the current downtrend of play to earn, the earning aspect of these games for Brazilian users has been not as good as it once was, but it is still super relevant for other countries, right? Other South American countries, Argentina, Venezuela, and Southeast Asia countries as well, like Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, and so on. So we have seen actually a slower demand for play to earn games in South America because of that aspect. Sorry, Brazil, not whole South America, and because of that, we are going international. Let's say.
That's the beauty of Web3 gaming, is it's not that the barriers to going international are almost non-existent.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, the biggest challenge for us is to have our community managers and the people in our team that know how we operate and know how our processes work, to have these people, speak in different languages, right? We have community managers that speak currently 4 different languages. So it's Portuguese, Spanish, English, and Tagalog. And those are the ones that we are focused on, and we want to continue provide documentation and help moving forward.
Yeah, very cool.
I have a quick question for Anani there real quick, just because we experience this so much in Web3. Do you find that it's pretty necessary to have native translations of the documents, or do you find that if you have good English bases, that it's effective enough to just have decent translators for those existing docs?
That's a very good question. Definitely English, good English documentation must be your priority. But I think it's also important to identify what other large communities you have in your game or in the ecosystem that you're building, and produce content targeting that specific community, right? For example, for the lower income population that is also able to reach out to gaming through mobile phones and things like that, they are much more approachable in their native idiom other than English, right? For example, if you're on YouTube, they will probably skip English content, even though if it's on the game that they are familiar with. However, if they see content in Tagalog or Portuguese, there is a very good chance that that content will go viral, because there's not a lot of it out there. And if you have a big enough community for that idiom, right, it's definitely going to go is gonna get a big audience. So yeah, that's my take on it. I think it's important to identify your user base and then produce content targeting that user base, right?
I like it. So I'm almost hearing that we could take existing videos and just make sure that we do good translated voiceovers, and that should be effective enough to help promote.
Yeah, absolutely. It would definitely be much more approachable to those communities. You have to have a sub community of content creators, right? And preferably not only in English, content creators to access multiple communities.
You know, we've got a happy home for all these folks. Last thing for me, real quick on this, just with your unique perspective of having wandered GameFi for quite a while. What about DAO interaction and experience? Have you experienced a lot of other effective DAOs? Are we killing it? Is it kind of similar to what you've had in other places? What's your take on that?
So Aavegotchi community is killing it on DAOs, right? It's the most active DAO in existence by multiple different metrics, right? So I actually think that the Aavegotchi DAO is the example to be followed, right? DAOs are tricky because users, they want transparency, right? They want to know what's going on, but at the same time, it's not everybody that will invest the time that is required to read through all the proposals, to make these proposals, and to vote on those, right? So that's why I think delegation is also a big part of DAOs and should always exist. But definitely the Aavegotchi DAO is the example to be followed in the industry, right?
Right on, man. I always appreciate your opinion. You're always well versed, and you kind of know the deal here.
Thanks a lot.
Before we jump into that delegation word, which was said, I would like to say we should sing happy birthday to White Ranger. His birthday yesterday. He thought it was the Hangout yesterday or last night, depending on which part of the world you are. And he kind of was joking around that he wanted a happy birthday song. So happy birthday. I at least want to say it to you before we jump into this.
Yeah, let's sing happy birthday.
Count us down there.
All right.
Just gonna start it.
Oh, should we actually
all right, three? Yeah, so 3, 2, 1. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Ranger. Happy birthday to you.
How old is your Gotchi?
You talk so much in how chat.
I said after my child being born. I appreciate you guys. That was amazing.
How old are you there, White Ranger?
I am a spry young 38-year-old man.
You're younger than me. I'm 41.
Oh my gosh. I'm dreading every one of these birthdays from now on, at least for the next 2 years.
39 is good. 39 is good.
Who's the oldest one up here?
I think it's you.
We're just bluffing, guys. We're just bluffing.
I'm 41, so am I the oldest
I'll
one
be
up here?
40 in October, so.
Coder Dan? You young?
I'm like a spring chicken. I'm only 33, guys.
Oh, nice.
Pepe, aren't you like
Got plenty of
26 or
good shipping
27?
years.
I think
Just remember,
I think I'd
when
take
you're
the cake.
61,
I'd take the cake for the spring chicken. I think. I don't know. Maybe. I think Sir Stinkiest Linkiest is the youngest in the Gotchi gang, but I'm 29.
He looked very young at NFT NYC. I was like,
yeah,
shit,
he was
he's
young, man. Yeah, he was chill though, man. Really dope dude, Stinkiest. Yeah. Cool guy. There was a lot of cool people there, bro. Everybody was cool. You know? Except for that one douchebag that was trying to fight with Gravy.
Yeah. So delegation. The word was open. You know, that box was open.
Hey, what did you say your top Gotchi on the BRS is, No Future? What rank?
It was 214.
Nice. I got mine up to 323 yesterday, so I was pretty proud of that.
Was that the 570?
Yeah, the 570 I got up into the 630s. So
You have some really cool ass wearables. How could you not have pushed it higher?
they didn't match. It's really about matching. So like it's like really offset, and like there's really no pets that match my Gotchi, which is tough. So yeah. Gets a little tough sometimes. And I think we need more wearables. What do you think, Coda Dan?
You got a Gotchi with personality. He's thinking about what he wants to wear, right? Especially what pets he wants.
You were kind of breaking up. What'd you say?
What kind of pet does your Gotchi want? What's it asking for?
I believe I'm high, low. So yeah, high Narg, low Arg, high.
I thought you talked to your Gotchi and he told you what pet you wanted.
Oh yeah. When I got really high yesterday, we were talking, and he said he wants to be able to have a living blunt pet. So it's constantly smoking. Yeah, I would have the little blunt pet. You could be like my little blunt dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he enables the fog of war whenever you go into battle.
Yeah, yep. And when I walk in, I come in with this great fog in front of me.
Soju says his Gotchi wants a goldfish. Would the goldfish be in a bowl, or would it just be bouncing up and down, kind of? I guess in the whatever. Does the Gotchiverse have air? Like, have we talked about this?
Honestly, I wouldn't mind like a hawk or an eagle pet, just because I love hawks.
Okay.
You guys picking up a lot of spillover?
Did you guys get
Where's
John
the
Gotchi
spillover?
spillover? There was
Yeah,
a huge
I
amount.
had a feast. I feasted. Where are we going now, guys?
Ooh, I lost you. We were hanging out District 2, right? Or District 1. Not inner walls, but second inner walls.
Like a spillover junkie.
Where's that spillover? Give me that sweet spillover.
Get the next hit. Anyone got any cool parcels they've started working on yet?
Ooh.
Probably it's still a little too early to really start doing your biddling yet, because there's no batch equipped yet, but it's coming soon.
Yeah.
Has anyone started that process?
I was using the tool a little bit that Moolah had made. You can upload an image and it'll kind of automatically pick it out for you.
How well does that work, do you find? I haven't used it yet, but...
I mean, every image I uploaded looked super garbled. It wasn't usable. But I think if you use like Aavegotchi asset SVGs, it might be a little better. I think he kind of like calibrated it to that. So if you like wanted to do like a specific wearable or something, that might be the move.
Oh, I see. It just fits in with the pixel theme really well.
Yeah, I uploaded some like Pixel like Power Ranger stuff, and it just didn't look like anything really.
Oh, okay.
It's like a Mario mushroom.
Yeah, you could do something like that. Yeah, I'm stacking the tiles for now. I got my eye on a couple different colors, so I'll just be stacking those and then figure out some design.
My girlfriend was gonna enter the contest, and she was wondering, is it gonna be those tiles only, or are you able to incorporate like installations and like golden tiles and all that stuff?
It's mainly for the mosaic tiles, but like we're not gonna add like extra points because you have like a fountain. But it's like if you use the tiles in a way that like makes the fountain or the the golden altar like look even cooler, that might, or it's like we're not giving points, but the community might like that better, right?
Yeah, she was just wondering if she'd be able to compete because she's not really like a whale.
Yeah, I mean, I think the community is going to be voting in Discord. So, like, if you got a super cool design with just mosaics, they might even like that more because you don't have any of like the expensive assets. Who knows, you know? So just do what you can with what you got.
Awesome.
You guys get your rarity farming rewards? Have you shaken those Gotchi's loose? Got that sweet ghost.
Yeah, I saw some tweets about it. People are stacking that nice sweet ghost.
Where you headed, Coder Dan? You just picking up spillover? Or you headed somewhere?
Yep. I'm just walking around.
I was following you around, but
Yeah.
I keep having to zoom out to find you. Then I don't see what you said.
All
good.
Yeah, we're gonna work on the chat bubbles. I kind of want to have them so they will zoom. Like when you zoom out, they also kind of get bigger, so you can still read them when you're zoomed out.
Yeah, you could also do. Could you do something in like the corner too, or something, to where like if you're zoomed all the way out, the chat just pops in a different spot?
Yeah, maybe. But you couldn't see who it's necessarily from. But
Well,
yeah,
could their
there's
name? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe their name pops up in the corner as well with with it. You know what I mean? So.
Also, if you can make it to where like when you hit enter, it goes back to like being able to walk around with WASD.
So we do a fix for that actually. The way that you'll be able to toggle the bubbles is going to be Command Option B. It'll be real quick.
You'll be able to scroll the bubbles.
Now the issue is like if you want to type something while you're moving, it kind of just like it takes away from the input a little bit. We're trying to figure out a way to make that smoother. But
What about a way? What about a way to see all the old messages?
Those are chat bubbles. Just go away.
Okay.
They don't stick around.
I was trying to remember in WoW. I think you just hit enter. You would type and then hit enter, and you go back to walking around.
Right. Yeah. So is that like every message you type, you gotta push enter to open it?
Yeah, I think you just hit enter and it opens the chat, and then you type and hit enter, and it closes the chat.
Could you maybe make the bubbles last a little longer? That way, maybe it's a little easier to read them or something. But then again, if they're just popping up and you can, when you're zoomed out, that works.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to make everything work. If we're gonna have zoom out, we got to make more stuff like even the names. You can't really read it. You can't really see the Gotchi that clearly. So we got some fixes that we're working on for that, but it's not super high priority, but it is something we're designing. Some quality of life stuff. We're getting some questions in the chat. I know it's been 30 minutes. It's been nice and friendly, but we are getting some questions about certain issues that some people want to address. Can we do that at this point? Yeah, sure. So I'll start with Butt Cultivator. Where is it? He wrote it somewhere. He wants to talk about the whitelist. There's been a lot of like really mean, like a lot of meanness in the Discord recently about this issue, which I'm kind of disappointed in. Like I feel like why can't we just talk about this issue in like a friendly, polite, normal way? There's been a lot of negativity and kind of just a lot of negative vibes that are I wish we could discuss things in a friendly way.
Yeah, it makes it
Not
a little.
not not seeing the
makes it a little
correlating
harder.
attention on the forum either.
Makes it a little harder though. A lot of people have money invested, so I think a lot of people that aren't like me, like a super stoner, can't really relax as much. Maybe they're just a little more worried because they do have a lot involved. Maybe that could be why, things get tense a little bit.
Well, maybe that's like the difference between confrontation and debate, right? Because we've got a really healthy DAO forum, and I haven't been seeing the same amount of attention and energy on that DAO forum as we're seeing out here in the streets.
That is something I agree with. I definitely think an issue like that, the DAO forum should be just blowing up right now with people talking about it, but you don't see any of that. It's
It went from the DAO forum to Twitter.
Well, Twitter's a whole other issue that we don't need to get into here. I mean, I'm fine with that. I'll get into that, but that's something different. That's with the Gotchi Vault, and we can have those words whenever. But we're talking about the whitelist. I think the discussion slowed down because a lot of what was said in the first day. Doesn't need to be like boost the boost. Like, I understand that some people think that there's negativity, but I don't think this discussion was any different than the boost to boost conversation or ending spillover. Those things were very contentious as well. And some of the things said during this kind of controversy, I don't want to call it a controversy, this, event, are in line with things that have been said before when similar nerfing or, movements like this have been made. So I understand that, not liking the negativity, we're supposed to be friendly, but it's, it's a discussion. It's open. It stopped once we heard that we're only going to, we're gauging, we're learning from the situation. We've had 4 days. So I guess I would like to ask Coder Dan, just what information have you gleaned or has the team gleaned from this 4 days? Like, I feel like, honestly, I still get just as many rentals. It's just they have to be spread out. It's a little annoying, but, I'm working just as hard, if not harder. And I have had smaller friends tell me that this does make it easier for them to grab gotchis. But I've also had players like myself, maybe not at the scale that I'm at, that also are frustrated, or renters that are frustrated because their gotchis aren't getting rented. Now they're coming to me and asking for my whitelist, which is great, but their frustration is still real, So just any data you might have on the effect of this change, and, just whatever information you can give us.
Yeah, it's hard. I haven't been able to go through and check the number of new addresses or how many more gotchi lendings they've been executed on. If there is anyone in the community that has done that, that would be great.
I actually have some numbers to share. Yeah, so just to share with everybody, on August 10th, I'm looking at a Dune analytics dashboard that I made. I shared that in Twitter. I'm happy to share here again. And it shows the unique addresses that borrow gotchis on a daily basis. So on August 10th, we had 601 borrowers. And ever since, that number has only increased, right? So on August 13th, that number was 1,067. So I think it has been a positive change. Looking at the numbers, the number of unique addresses borrowing gotchis is increasing, and also from a guild perspective, I must add that we were previously literally hunting the users on our community that were bad actors, right? That they were renting a really large number of gotchis, and we were kicking them out of their whitelist. That problem is solved. That problem is solved with this new feature. So yeah, at least from those two experiences that I have, I think it was a overall positive change.
Yeah. So there's two changes that were introduced here. One was the very non-controversial whitelist borrow limit update that basically does what you just said. It lets the guild or the whitelist owner boot anyone that they don't want, and that person can't scoop up a bunch of gotchis they were previously doing. The other one was introducing a limit on the public whitelist, which is the 0 whitelist, setting that to 1. And we've been wanting to try this out for a while and just kind of see what would happen. It's a we can talk about why we didn't do like a full like sick prop and go through the core prop for it. And my simple answer to that is just it's an easy change that can be reverted like very quickly. It doesn't have to be a lasting thing, and it's something that it's hard to have a discussion on the DAO forum. Like we're all kind of armchair Gotchi Taoists talking about it theoretically, and then versus actually like putting it out there. And so I just figured it'd be a quick change to just look at it and see what the general feedback was from the community on it, and then we can revert it today or tomorrow or whatever, and then continue discussion. But at least we've had a chance to see and kind of feel how it would affect things, and then we can have a full discussion on it.
From my part, I appreciate that. I just would love, like, I would love. It doesn't even have to be a sick prop. It could be a poll that you guys put in the general chat, like just kind of some head up, because that caught us all off guard. At least it seemed like the people who were upset were all caught off guard. Maybe I missed something that was more blatantly put out there, but I don't think I did. So yeah, that's a suggestion thing, but that's not like a poll in the from what's it called, hardcore. That wasn't a poll in the Discord. Something that would have been a little bit more public, I think, would have been better. That's my critique of the situation.
Yeah, overall, I like the changes as well, but I share that feeling too. I did not see that coming, and maybe there could be even though experiments are good for the community, it would be good if those were communicated beforehand, right? That's communication is never bad and never enough, probably.
Hey, did I miss?
agree. We could have done better on that.
Did I miss something with the boost? I hit shift and I speed up. What is that?
Oh yeah, that's been live.
Yeah, it's 3 weeks old.
Oh shit, I missed it. Yeah, no, that's freaking cool as hell. I was wondering why people kept losing me, and I was like, what the fuck?
It drains your HP too, so if you hold it down, you have not great HP. I wonder, does it kill your Gotchi if you go all the way to 0? Does your Gotchi just like die?
You can't. It goes to 25% and then it stops. Master, you can't push me. I'm gonna burn.
So what's the effects of like running it all the way down? Like, is it in the future when you're like actually doing stuff?
You won't be able to run past. So if you are being hit by someone and you're like at 10% health, you won't be able to sprint.
That makes sense. So as long as you stay above 25% health, you can sprint?
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. Very cool. Happy about that, man. It was so slow going through the rest of the verse. Not on the roads.
Yeah, if you get on the road, you go really fast. So back to the lending here. Yeah, obviously there's going to be an increase in the number of wallets, but it is probably worth, if someone wants to run like a query or use the know your scholar like query, you could probably check what the age is of those wallets and see if they were all like created within the last 2 or 3 days. I'm sure a lot of them probably are.
I mean, I started utilizing a second wallet. I'm sure many others have also.
Yeah, it's more. Are there actually like more botters botting at the same speed, and also are there kind of more casual users that feel like or know that they're able to get Aavegotchi lending at like when they weren't before, compared to a power user like futuristic, where you're just like going through hundreds of Gotchis every day or dozens. There's like two kind of user classes here.
That's my personal experience. It is this last few days I've been able to get a Gotchi, whereas I had just given up. And I had even gone through the process of like testing the bots that they're using to grab these contracts, because you can like just let it run all day, and it'll snipe a listing right when it comes online. But like even that, it's just a pissing contest with everyone else. So I had given up on channeling altogether until that update was implemented, and then I was able to get contracts. And I would like to see a return to like extended contracts. So it seems like people have shifted back to single day. The extended ones were nice.
Crypto Gotchi Music Parlor, you're asking how this impacts me. So speaking kind of what White Ranger is just speaking to, I never have an issue grabbing gotchis. I don't use bots. I'm not technically advanced to do that. What I do is I literally watch adventure.io all day. I search gotchis that give me a 30% split, like a very low split, because some of those can be very attractive. And I will rent out 12 hours in advance because there are people who put up 10 or 20 listings that expire like right after the reset. So I sit there and try to wait a couple minutes because I know I can channel 1.5 to 2 gotchis a minute after the reset. So what I do is I'll grab 80 gotchis at 10 in the morning, and they'll be expiring as the reset happens while my land's ready. So this affects me because I go from having one channeling session that's roughly 3 hours long, I can pick up all my gotchis, live a normal life, to having to now I have to, every time I grab a gotchi, I have to return it. It slows the whole process down. I can't channel the same way at the end of the day. I'm basically channeling now all day. I'm actually getting more channels in, but it's just created this super inefficiency for me, which yes, it's very personal and it's a bias that I have, but it just frustrates the heck out of me because it's like, I'm not botting. I'm just playing the game normally. I'll go to adventure.io. I have a search right here on my live stream. You see there are like 10 of these things are available right now. I'll grab them all because no one else is renting them. If you really like sort
and you grab them all, they're not able to rent them. I mean, how long are you waiting for them to
sometimes
stay on
12
the
hours? Sometimes some of these rentals will be 12 hours and they expire like 2 minutes after the reset. So I'll book them 12 hours in advance, and I have a spreadsheet where I have my land based on altar and the gotchis I need to channel. So if you watch my live stream every day, basically the first 30 minutes is me trying to speed through the rentals because a lot of these people who are putting them up for rent, they're putting a gotchi up for 0.2 ghost, right? They're giving you 1 ghost profit, a 5x on like a level 3, because they think that your channel's not going to go through before the reset. You're going to mess up. So I try to take advantage of that. So that strategy, I don't think I'm really hurting the game. There are people literally trying to like game the game. I'm just trying to take advantage of that. So I'll grab, gotchis that are long term. Now I can't rent gotchis that are 5-day or 30-day rentals because it's I can't return it. Like I have to hold. I would be stuck with that one gotchi. So it changes the way I can approach channeling.
You basically need everybody in the whole Gotchiverse to whitelist no future.
That sounds feasible if he's grinding that hard.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of AFK players.
I carry a laptop all day. I was told that I was unemployed yesterday. I disagree with that. I literally am in the Gotchiverse all day working on stuff.
Everybody whitelist no future on every Gotchi.
But that's an interesting point, regarding long time rentals, right? If you want to rent your gotchi for 30, 60, 90 days, you can't really return it, right? So you're stuck with only one gotchi for this whole period. That's actually a downside that I didn't really foresee before.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about now.
I rented 20 long-term rentals. Zico, I think, was the one that mentioned it, or it might have been Haram. There was a day where someone listed all these gotchis for 30-day rentals for 20 ghosts each. They stayed up on the market for a while, so I grabbed like 10 of them, and I've been channeling with them. Actually, because of this switch, I had to change which looper.dev function I'm using, the batch, claim, and end. So I ended up sending back my long-term rentals by accident because in the trying to speed through everything, I ended up using the wrong function because I was just sending rentals back. So it's just become a nightmare, but it's manageable. It's just a nightmare.
Rug yourself.
Yeah, I can see how you could lose, you know what I mean, the ability to earn more money. You're not like losing, but you're losing money that could be earned by not being able to rent those extra gotchis. And now
I'm making more money now. That's the thing I keep telling everybody. It's not about I'm making money. It's just that I'm losing time. Like there's no glitter speed up for this, which is frustrating.
Well, no, I mean, how can you have 20 rentals to do what you want right away with only being able to have one? That's what the point was. I was wondering,
Yeah, I mean, I'll go one by one. The hustle is still there. There's money to be made, so I'm gonna make it. But it just like I've been like I feel like I got one of my legs chopped off, and now I'm jumping with a crutch trying to do the same thing.
It's like,
To
I mean,
me,
you're
go ahead.
like a power user of the protocol, um, which is awesome, and it's great that you're able to like make a living doing this. But we do need to recognize as a power user that you're going to have a way different experience than like a casual user. So if we can find two different ways to have it work great for you and also for a casual user, then that's awesome. Or we try to find this weird like middle point that where no one's happy, which is obviously not what we want to do. So it's
I
yeah.
I would say I support making the move for the casual user. I'll adapt. I'll adapt. That's all that's gonna matter. So I was frustrated. I apologize for that. And just please like put up just a little bit more of an announcement and I'll shut up.
Yeah, we'll try to communicate these better. It was just something we've been wanting to like try and see, because it literally I think there's been like 3 different times where we were thinking of pushing this and just seeing what would happen. Yeah, we should have just communicated better. But I do want to address something.
We're
People keep saying that the vault was like involved in this decision, or like they were pushing this. I just want to be very clear about
Picking
that.
up lots of free
The
money.
vault and the guilds were asking for the private whitelist quality of life feature. Gotchi Emperor, could you mute? So the vault and the guilds were asking for private whitelist bar limits, which doesn't affect anything. It only affects them. It's a quality of life only for their whitelist if they choose to enforce it, which is why there was no core prop or sig prop for this feature, because anyone can choose whether or not they want to use it. It only affects the guild. So the public whitelist was just something we've been wanting to try out for a couple days, and that's why we put it out. See what would happen. So can we please just stop bashing the vault and like large guilds for trying to manipulate the market? Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
How
Just on another note here, do you guys think it would be interesting to potentially increase that limit for rentals that involve Ghost, paying Ghost upfront? Is that a interesting compromise for power users like no futuristics and other rentals that are only involved, share profit type of loans?
What's the prop there for that? For power users?
It's just a thought that come to my mind right now, because we had we had 3 different rentals in the market, right? We have Ghost up front and 100% to the borrower. We have a mixed approach where we split it a little bit and you pay a little bit of Ghost, and we have the completely share profit type of loan. So what I thought was, for Ghost only type of loans, maybe we can increase that limit. It's just something that we would facilitate, I guess, for power users like futuristic. But you would also, limit the amount of gotchis for other type of rentals.
Gotchi Emperor, you're getting a lot of direct requests to please turn off your notifications. If you go into do not disturb mode or whatnot, your little pings are driving people freaking nuts right now. Just be aware.
streamer mode.
It's you hit the little cog at the bottom near where your app is up. Okay.
That won't solve it, but all right, we'll see when you get back.
Rage quit.
So how far are we out from any kind of like sandbox PvP mode, so where we can have like a Gotchi Mania 20 versus 20 Royal Rumble type scenario?
Definitely. I mean, a few months for sure. There's still a lot of being worked out. But the next big release is going to be NFT displays, which are going to be lit on was it Thursday a little bit. But yeah,
I just feel
PvP
like
is the next one.
Yeah, some of these discussions can be hashed out in the verse, in winner take all scenario.
I do think this public the public whitelist bar limit and cartridges console could be a pretty interesting match as well, because then you literally couldn't have botters like creating a bunch of random wallets and scooping up gotchis. Someone also mentioned maybe we're talking about the limits here. What if like the number you were limited by the number of parcels you had in your wallet, because we don't have parcel lending yet. But for no futuristic, I mean, what would that do for you?
So that helps. That helps because I have 80 parcels, right? 90 parcels. It doesn't help because I've been encouraged to level up. Like, so I have like capacity of like close to 200 parcels. And then beyond that, which makes this much more difficult, is I'm the lending operator for other people's parcels. I have one client that has 126 parcels that once you enable whitelisting, I plan on renting as many gotchis as I can to channel on their land. I already try to hit my land as much as I can, but eventually, ideally, I'm going to be channeling on other people's land for them in the game because they have spare land that's just sitting there doing nothing. It's another service that I plan to provide as soon as that like ability to whitelist my wallet to channel on the land with rented gotchis, which is a whole nother vector of like, hey, look, this is a way that you can play the game. That
I mean, but they're not playing the game though. Like we at some point we should kind of think about, is it like if you're the one doing all the work in the Gotchiverse and people aren't actually playing, it is like there needs to be some balance point between where you can do your Gotchi channeling all day and take the place of like 300 players, but I don't know. It does seem like we're going like it's a little bit extreme to be trying to optimize for that kind of solution.
Let me ask you then, what's the difference then with the Gotchi vaulter who drops in their 100 parcels to earn 10% by letting other people channel on it? Yeah, you distributed that. It's still the same kind of asset holder.
Yeah, well, no, that player is actually in the game. It's not just one player. You're using it's one player, one address.
The thing is, if there were enough players to take all the gotchi, correct? Wouldn't the market solve that? If we had the demand in our market, once we have the demand in our market, I'm not going to be able to get gotchis. My whole strategy has to change. Currently, that demand doesn't exist. It's not that I'm botting and stealing everything. I can literally, there's gotchis available right now for me to rent, and I have channels of altars available. Other players aren't taking these gotchis. I don't think I should be penalized because no one else is taking advantage of our market.
I think the thing. It's kind of a chicken and egg, though. It's like if a new player comes to the game and they see like, man, I can't get a gotchi to rent like this. They said I could get a gotchi and I could go on someone's like parcel and channel, and I can't because there's no gotchis. They're just going to leave. So it might be a situation where we could have had that demand. It's hard to say now, but we could have had that demand, and people just felt like they couldn't compete, so they turned away and they didn't come back.
But I'm representing like 300 gotchis. If we're talking max, if I was taking and my client's land out of 19,000, we're not even talking 1%. Like, how is that?
Well, that's the proposal, is that each parcel you have is one gotchi you can rent. And so you said you had 80 parcels, so max you would have is 80 gotchis, and you had mentioned that that's your limit anyway. And so the whole goal here,
capacity for more based on my
but can you do 80 and then return them all and then do 80 again? Why do you have to rent them, like borrow them all at once?
I'm just doing it because that's the current strategy that works. People put up long-term rentals that are 12 hours that are attractive rates, even at a 30% borrower split. No one else is taking these rentals. It's literally like if you go and search, and the market's changed recently, but if you look for longer term rentals, there's tons of people that are just dropping these and no one's taking them. stuff that's been up for 20 hours. So I
So
take advantage of that.
what was the max number of rentals you would have at one time?
I mean, I've gotten to 100. Let's see, it would have been like 80 or 90 that I've had
And you
like
and
ready
you
for a
have
channeling
80
session.
and you have 80 parcels.
Yeah, but there's with these channelings, remember my client gotchis also land. So I channel on their land, I channel on my land, but with these gotchis, I can, if they're long enough rentals, some of them are 24 hours. I don't have to channel them right at the reset. I can wait until my level 6 is reset at 11 p.m., which is often what I do. I wait until 11 p.m. I'm channeling the whole time. At 11 p.m., they reset. At 3 a.m., they reset. I channel then. I try to wake up at 9. I start channeling again. I know it sounds crazy,
Yeah, just
because it is.
pause for a sec. So
Yeah.
the update of allowing one gotchi per parcel as a rental would solve your initial issue at this moment, because on average you're maxing out at about 80 gotchis. You have about 80 parcels. So
It's
the goal
solved.
here is to
It'll be
get
fine.
the goal here is to get Alchemica in the hands of asset holders versus people just popping into extract.
So
So
the
if
people
you
I
have
work
the
for are also
parcels,
asset holders. So if they want me to channel on their land, which we set up a smart contract function to allow me to do, why is that now being disincentivized? That's my question.
well, the thing is, you have 80 parcels to rent 80 gotchis, so you can still channel on their land with their gotchis.
But they're asking me to channel with rented gotchis. That's the next evolution once that whitelist feature is enabled, which is something that we've kind of.
Well, that's down the road. I'm just saying
I
at
know,
this moment.
but that's I'm saying right now, if you went one gotchi per land, I can take the current situation. I'll just, if we do something better, I'm fine with that. In the future, though, it's going to hamper the situation where I'm trying to work for other people who are asset holders who have hundreds of thousands of dollars of assets but don't have the time. Some of these people are World Series of poker players. They're not in the Gotchiverse, but they want to still, gain yield from it. They've invested the money in it. So I don't see. I mean, I get why you don't want. Maybe I'm becoming too centralized, even though I don't take custody of any of the assets. I'm just playing the game for people who can't or don't want to play at this moment. I don't see what the problem with that is.
Well,
I 100%. Well, I do want to say I 100% feel like if you weren't doing it, someone else would be. I don't think that you specifically are doing anything crazy. Like you're an optimizer,
I
and,
mean,
and,
I
and
was
you
gonna
have.
say I am doing what he's doing, but on a much smaller scale. I mean, I have 10 gotchis in my wallet right now and like 6 parcels.
Yeah, and to be honest, I've said this publicly, streams during the DAO meeting, maybe not in the DAO meetings, but in many different forums where I was planning on making content to show people how they could go into the Gotchi vault and, be able to earn without having assets. Like this is a way to enter the game. I mean, you guys all yell that's not the ideal player, but it's a player and it gets people into our ecosystem. So like I've mentioned that multiple times and no one really pushed back on that. So the pushback now seems a little weird to me. I mean, I get it, but I just don't. I don't know. Like, I'm fine with restrictions. I just don't like this idea that, like, in an open market where there isn't enough demand for gotchis, like, I'm taking, even if I went nuts and bought 500 pieces of land, I'm still not taking that many gotchis. And, more people are moving to whitelist anyway. So the next move, my question is now, if I can't get them in the open market, I had someone message me right before the reset yesterday. He says, "Hey, I'm doing something. Would you want to channel my 20 gotchis before and after?" And I said, "Yeah, I did it." So more people are just going to move to whitelist. Is the next step that we're going to limit whitelist? Is that the box that we're opening?
What I think we're part of this discussion is the anti-botting discussion, and I think that if we do eventually choose to have cartridges, which are basically soulbound NFTs that are acquired from other players, that plus a borrow limit, it could be based on how many parcels you have, could be quite powerful for preventing the botters, because they literally just they'd have to get a bunch of cartridges from everyone. And what we're trying to do here is find a solution that will work for you. So it seems like it would be pretty good, since you do have 80 parcels. You could do 80 gotchis at a time, and then you could batch execute all the listings, get all the gotchis you want, do your channeling, and then do another batch. While this would also help players that have like maybe a couple parcels and a couple gotchis, do what they want while also being able to prevent the bots. So what we're trying to do is just find a good kind of a compromise between the casual user and the power user, and land ownership could be one way.
Yeah, I appreciate this conversation and having it here because this is the way we should do it. Just for grids, because you asked a question, am I using bots? I'm not. If you could watch my live streams every day, at the end of the streams, I check and their gotchis ready on the market. I haven't been streaming because now I'm trying to hide my strategy because now I have to pick up rentals at the reset. I can't depend on them pre-reset because then I get locked into them. And now the schedule for all my altars is all over the place because I have to just constantly channel. So I'm not using bots. I just literally I guess I am a bot in a sense because I'm sitting here with 10, windows open with Adventure.io, refreshing it all day. I go to coffee places. The only time I'm not in the Gotchiverse is when I'm in the gym trying to clear my mind. So it's definitely not bot usage. It's just OCD and I guess just obsessive behavior in the Gotchiverse. I said I was going to do this before we launched the play drop, that I was going to be in the Gotchiverse all the time because there's great value here. I don't really like the fact that I'm considered an extractor, considering I'm only pulling yield, not selling assets. But everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I'm entitled to mine as well. So I'm a bot. I guess I'm a bot. Beard's a liquidator. I'm a bot. I'm fine with that.
It's just the transition from like play to win from play to earn. It's like, are we making a video game or a way for you to pay your rent? I'd like to see it.
I think the larger discussion there is that if we can't find any players that don't want to play this for any other reason than financial gain, then it's not going to be very sustainable. And we're slowly moving towards other gameplay that will be fun and actually have utility beyond just being able to make a paycheck.
Someone that got Chipper up here too real quick. He's asking.
Yeah, I'll bring him up now. But real quick, I just want to make a point here. And anybody that's an ambassador can vouch this. If you go to the Ambassadors Lounge, when the program went on pause, Jesse encouraged us to make our living to continue earning by channeling. So the pushback is kind of weird. I've been told that, as an ambassador, there was money there. I'm doing my channeling. This is, I've been talking about this as GameFi and play to earn since before the play drop. I literally have receipts. There are videos where we've talked about this is kind of the model. People come in, you can pick up Alchemica, there's spillover, it's a big party. I worry, and this is controversial, that maybe the tokenomics are flawed, that we have to market manipulate. This is why I say that word. And I know that really gets people testy, but we talk about ideal players and telling people how to control their investments. We should not be doing that. If this game is sustainable, it has to be sustainable without us keep coming in and Frankensteining the shit out of it. I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but this is a fact. And anytime anybody questions there's so much pushback. It's a thing. That's why I'm happy that we can have this conversation here where we can actually hear each other versus in a Discord chat where it's just we don't really have context. We don't have full meaning.
You have to be able to adapt. So having some kind of dogmatic meta that you're locked into is instant failure.
I mean, I do adapt constantly, but the plan's been I've been telling you all for months, since I've been in here. My goal was hey, if I get this many gotchis and do this kind of based on Dr. Wagner's napkin map that we've talked about in Gotchi Spaces, Gotchi can earn $3 to $4 a channel. I was I've been talking about from way back how if we're at that level, I can just do this full time. I don't see why that's a problem now. It's not like I've been hiding that.
Are you still collecting milk? Is that, I haven't checked in on that in a while.
I'm still collecting milk. I do sell that too. My son's wallet has a split of a lot of the rentals I do for my clients. So that's where Alchemica goes. That just stacks. I sell Alchemica and I buy other stuff in the Gotchiverse, or I taking out money from the Gotchiverse. I literally have been taking out DAI now, and I'm going to start sending it to the bank because I need some real life fiat. But there's a reason.
I don't think this is a problem. What we are trying to figure out here is that we have power users like you, and we have casual players, and we need to create an ecosystem that serves both well, right? We definitely want to keep you around. You have been great for the community. You are probably the most popular content creator. So yeah, please don't feel attacked. It's just everyone trying to figure out how can we make it a good experience for both type of players, right? I think that's what's important.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I'm just saying, people are calling me extractors. If that's what you think, I'm
Who's
fine with
calling
that.
you an extractor?
I mean, look at the chat. Like, I'm fine with that. I'm 100% fine with that point of view.
But
I think it's
mean,
my
okay,
investment, and that's the first time maybe.
I want to jet in here. So Bearded's calling you an extractor, but then there's a ton of people calling Bearded an extractor. Like, it just seems like you guys are just like calling each other extractors. Just like
I'm telling you that, unlike Bearded, I'm not going to attack anybody.
I mean,
like,
dude, everyone, like, there's no one in this ecosystem that is not going to take any profits on anything.
I understand that. What I'm saying is, I'm okay with you attacking me like that. Not you specifically. You can call me that. I'm fine with that. I'm not going to attack you like Bearded does. That's not my style. I don't need to do that. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to flirt with you like I've been telling Bearded how cute he is, because he won't get on stage and talk. But it's fine. You can have your opinion about me. I'm playing the game, and I've been transparent about how the game. It's not going to work for everybody. That's fine. I don't it is what it is. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, there's no one against taking profits in crypto. The discussion about extractors was primarily for new players that have zero investment into the ecosystem, and they just were able to get a Gotchi and get some Alchemica and then sell it immediately without any sort of investment in the ecosystem. That's how we're defining like more of extractive type gameplay. And if we only have that type of gameplay, then the ecosystem's not going to sustain itself. Everything's going to go to zero. But it's like, if you guys are calling it, like, if you call Bearded an extractor, and then Bearded calls you an
I called him a liquidator. I didn't call him an extractor. I called him a liquidator. That's
no one's an extractor. That if you have a bunch of assets in the ecosystem, like, you're part of Gotchi game. So you guys just need to relax.
What I called Bearded a liquidator for the record, I said he's a liquidator. I did not call him an extractor. There's two different things. There's a whole like backstory to that. So
I feel like I'm watching
Vault for a while.
Oh, there's definitely been an
extracting.
Well, it just feels like I'm watching like arguments between essentially identical structured businesses at different stages of development.
Yeah.
On the extractor subject, I'm also involved with another project called Fancy Birds. They had a similar problem, that some people were coming, they were playing the game, and they're just selling the token. They weren't really participating on everything that they were making available in the game. And what they implemented, that's actually quite interesting. I wonder if it might be useful here in the Gotchiverse, is that whenever you claim tokens, you have to first stake them between 4 weeks to 52 weeks. So between a month to a year, right? And staking obviously gets you interest, right? So it gets you profits, but that applies to scholars, right? So people that only are borrowing assets, playing, and they were selling previously, now they have to go through this staking process and keep those tokens in the economy for a while, right? And they also made another change where you can actually use those staked tokens in the game, right? So even though they're staked, you can actually use for breeding new assets or crafting new items and things like that. What do you guys think of that model? Do you think it's something that we can potentially explore in the Gotchiverse to avoid extractors?
Yeah, that's actually an interesting proposal that Mark has been working on called, it was initially V Alchemica, but he's got a new name for it, D Alchemica, Dust Alchemica. So everyone should check that out. Maybe we can go over that on tomorrow's DAO meeting.
So I have a comment on the whole lending thing, and I don't want to be taking shots at the vault because that's not my intention here, because it's not their fault per se. But the reason why people were botting, the problem with botting lending, yes, sure, some people are just scooping up the best deals, but there are gotchis out there that you can borrow from the vault, where you can borrow the gotchi and then use the land from the vault. So it's essentially just free money. So like that's the issue with the botting lending. It's not necessarily that people are just scooping up gotchis that can channel. It's people are scooping up gotchis that can channel and that are essentially free to channel.
Yeah, that's a good clarification.
So like I said, it's not the vault's fault. They aren't doing anything wrong, but it's the people who are using the vault in the wrong ways.
Yeah, it's all incentives and structure. So if there's an incentive or structure problem that we as a community think is not ideal, we should take steps to
And
work
like you
on
asked me like how was I profiting from these changes, and it was from doing exactly that, except I was doing it manually now. Like I mean, I just wasn't doing it before because bots were scooping them all up. But now there's an opportunity for people like me to do it manually at reset because bots can't do it quick enough or aren't doing it quick enough. And I've been making like 5 to 10 ghosts for the past couple days at reset just by borrowing, channeling, like with their gotchi and their land, and then returning it and doing it again.
What do you do with the Alchemica? Do you turn it into Ghost?
Yeah.
Because you quoted Ghost, right? So is that it? Like, what do we consider that? Because that's what I do that all day.
I've never called you an extractor. Like,
to die, then die into Ghost. I do rentals. I get more Alchemica.
I've never called you an extractor. Like I have no problem.
I'm not asking. I'm just. I'm not accusing you of anything. I just asked a question.
I mean, I personally, I don't switch it to die because I mean, I have a full-time job, so I don't need to be doing anything. But like, I mean, like I have no problem with you taking part of your Alchemica out of the system. Like everyone's going to do that. Like I have no issue with that.
That's not my question. I'm just asking. You're going to die and you sell to die, and then you go back into rentals, correct?
No, I mean, I don't switch it to die. I don't know why I would.
I mean, not die. Sorry, Ghost.
Yeah, I switch it to Ghost, but I mean that's all within the same ecosystem though, so that's not extracting at all.
Well, yeah, I'm not accused. I'm just asking you a simple question.
Well, what do I consider it? Nothing. I don't know. Like, what do you mean? I don't consider it anything. Switching Alch to Ghost back to Alch, nothing. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think that's a thing. I don't think.
No,
asking because I do a similar thing, but I go through die.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't think it's an issue. Like I said, I think the issue. I don't care what you do with it. I care that people are botting this, where it's just free money.
I'm not asking you about how I feel. I asked you a very specific question. That's all I'm getting to.
He answered you.
I know, but why does he keep going on about how I feel?
Yeah, it sounds like a DM conversation. So I have a real question actually, because on the Gotchi suggestion board, the crafting and the mailbox discussion on postcards has been getting kind of some traction. And Dan asked a question today about how much those postcards might cost or how much the mailbox might cost. And I don't have a clue. And so I'd like some opinions from the community on what we think about like an in-game physical messaging system and potential costs for crafting.
I would just mimic whatever the USPS costs, which is a fortune.
Yeah, I mean, I would think like, do we actually need it to cost something, and should there be travel involved? Those are kind of two base questions to ask.
We're gonna need Aavegotchi mailmen. Maybe No Future can deliver mail for some extra ghosts.
Hey, so I legitimately see the mail service as being a potential thing that could happen. So I like the idea of in-game delivery mattering, and I like the game of crafting for utilization to matter. I like there to be a cost.
Can I rob the mailman with all this Alchemica?
You always are looking for somebody. No, you cannot. I even in a big thought took it as far as potential district DAO interaction, where there could be a centralized mailbox in each district, and there could be a distributed physical mail system that could be done. This could be a real thing. I know Musashi doesn't be a big thing of it, so he can be postmaster potentially. But at least in the very simple thing of crafting a mailbox and crafting a postcard that physically has to go from point A to point B, I think there's something to it. Might be silly or dumb, but I think I would use it.
I do like the idea that if you go out into the grid as a postman, you might get mugged, and if you die, you lose the letter.
That would be cool. I will execute the mailman.
Well, on another subject, I wanted to ask something I think Dan mentioned about not having land landing yet. I got curious about that yet. Is that I know that whitelist for lands is in the roadmap, but land loans specifically, is that something that you guys are exploring potentially?
Not really at this moment. Like Gotchi lending has opened up so much, just that we're still kind of working through. I think if we add land rentals at this point, it's just going to add another whole layer of chaos. I don't really think it's. I mean, is it really something that we need at this point?
Definitely want it
Yeah,
in the future.
something that I've been giving a lot of thought is that right now we have three token generating events, right? We have spillover, we have farming, and we have channeling. And two of those three involve land. It would be good if whenever we have a token generating event that involves land, that we could split that those earnings with the landowner, right?
Oh,
so
that's
you
what-
can use the so the we can still use the permissions that you guys are making available. I think they are very flexible actually. White lists and land gotchis and landing your wallet, things like that. But one of the things that we have been having a hard time at Orion is figuring out how we are going to share the proceeds with landowners, because we actually have to calculate that off chain and then distribute that to landowners. Even the Gotchiverse is doing that, right? They essentially airdrop every Sunday to landowners the Alchemica. So it's unfortunately something that's happening off chain. That would be great if we could bring to on chain, right?
Yeah, I think we talk about like an Alchemica hook, and I think we are planning to add something like that in for anyone who would want to have like a split with their Alchemica in channeling, and then with like emptying the reservoir. I don't think that shouldn't be too difficult to add.
Yeah, what we talked about was specifically for channeling, but then we introduced farming, right? So maybe we need to have a broader discussion on how we can implement that for any type of token generating event that we will have on the Gotchiverse. That would be super cool.
Yeah, it's a hook. It would just go kind of at the end of every function, and then other contracts could like tie into it. I think it's doable, but yeah, we've been looking into it a little bit.
Awesome.
That would kind of would that replace the need for land rentals? We were kind of talking about that.
Yeah, absolutely. The Gotchi Vault and Orion and other players, we could build a smart contract that could take that functionality and implement on our side, right? So we can kind of take the burden away from the other Gotchi developers for sure.
By the way, we just pushed a little front end update. If you log back in, you'll notice that parcels are now the first thing that you see when you get your start point. So you don't have to click between District 1 and my parcels. And also, I think they finally fixed the trail of the sprinting, so it should be working well now. I'm jumping back in to test it. Also, if you guys haven't checked, the CoinGecko has recently done some updates on the Alchemica. They're not all done yet for some reason, but FOMO, FUD, KEK are all the accurate market cap according to the circulating supply. So looking really good on CoinGecko these days. Can't wait for alpha to finally be fixed, because before they weren't including the new supply that's been coming on.
Yeah, sprinting actually works better now. Like before, if you were sprinting and you went off the road, it would stop sprinting, but that doesn't happen anymore. And the trail is actually gone now, which I prefer because it kind of looked goofy before, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought we I don't know what happened to the trail. Let me ask.
I'm glad
Yeah,
it's gone personally.
I still have the trail. It just doesn't go crooked anymore.
Oh, the trail's gone for me. Maybe it's one of the settings I have turned on or off. But
Yeah, maybe it's something in the settings. Let's see.
because I think I have Aavegotchi turned off, so it might be that.
Yeah, it's probably that because before when you would like change directions while sprinting, the trail would get stuck that other direction.
Yeah,
But now it's
yeah,
working
I know. The trail was actually on for me even with Aavegotchi turned off before, but now with this new update, the trail is gone.
Ah.
So I had the wonky trail before, but I still prefer having no trail personally.
There it is. I see it.
Y'all
It's
wait
good.
by to Jesse. He's on his way out.
He's just
Later, sir. The trail is a little goofy, but I think it also it's kind of a work in progress, but I think it does add something.
I think I'd be okay with the trail if it like was only there when you started sprinting. Like if it was only there for a second or two. But the fact that it's there like the full sprinting time makes me not like it.
Does anyone else have any strong opinions on the trail?
I mean,
It's good. It's good.
fairly indifferent. I was just voicing my opinion.
The trail from when you speed up should be just like, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like it? Do you
Yeah.
not like it?
I think you should be able to. I think you could add a feature to where you could change it to one you wanted. I would like just smoke coming out of my mouth as like to speed up. So that would be dope. Like, so I'm just sitting there smoking as I float through the Gotchiverse. That could be one. You know, you could probably add a couple different ones, right? And maybe make ability to change it.
Would you be able to make it so that it's reflective of the spirit force in the Gotchi?
Maybe. I think it's like a custom. It's not a custom animation. I think it's like one. It's like a GIF, right? So they'd have to make like a fully custom animation for that. Probably would take a while. I mean, it would take some more effort for sure.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I know that I
Is
seen that. I was gonna say I seen that Mega Guild spent. They said they made like 30 grand and they've put all of it back into buying different assets. So I thought that was pretty cool.
speaking of QOL changes or minor changes like this, Coder Dan, do you know if we're ever gonna or if we're gonna get like persistent, like when you know how when you sort your gotchis, you could change it to like sort by kinship or whatever. Like, are we ever gonna get that to be able to like stay as what you had set it for last time?
Yeah, that's there's a task for that.
Wait.
It hasn't been gotten to yet.
Yeah, it was just like on the same line as like having the parcels show up first and whatever, you know.
Yeah, those will be coming in like the next couple weeks for sure. Like also when you choose a gotchi to see like sort by kinship, sort by next channeling. There'll be a couple things for that. And yeah, also persistence. We're also we're working on inertia and handling internally. I haven't seen it yet, but it's being worked on. That's going to be cool to finally see that in action.
How would handling work for the current gameplay?
So right now, like when you push the key, it just moves. There's no startup or acceleration or deceleration. But we think there should be some acceleration, deceleration. Exactly how much is something we want to play test with everyone.
Would that
maybe
be
maybe everyone hates it. We'll see. But something again, it's like we want to have that. We need to have it like live for everyone to kind of play around with before we can make any big decisions on it.
Would that be based on any stats, or would it just be the same for every Gotchi?
So in the earliest stats mapping that we made, it was based on one of the eyes. I think it was eye shape. Like one of them was like it was like better handling versus more zoom, I think. And so better handling would basically mean you have faster acceleration and deceleration. But it doesn't, as far as like a trait mapping, it doesn't really make that much sense. So we'll see.
The zoom
gonna
makes
get it
sense
with
for
the-
eyes, but
Yeah. It's almost like I don't know, like you got to be more careful. Like if you have like lower handling, you're a little bit more careful, I guess. You slow down and speed up, like slower. But yeah, it's as far as the lore perspective, it's a bit weird.
I have about an hour and a half set aside for this call. I got to get back to being a dad. I appreciate the birthday wishes and everything, and everything you guys do. See you in the
man,
verse.
that was fun. Have a good day. Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah, thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
Take it easy.
you got any alpha for us today? I don't think we've, other than like the update, obviously, but I don't think we've had any alpha today.
Let's see. Well, yeah, just the update. We're working on a lot of stuff that's kind of longer term. It's going to take a couple more weeks to get anything like that we can ship to you guys. But I did hint that or confirm that NFT displays are coming next. That's the big next release that we have coming.
Nice.
I'll have to head out soon. Do you guys mind if I chill out of Twitter space one last time before I leave?
Yeah, go. Do you have like a link for where it's going to be yet?
Yeah, I'm gonna paste on the weekly Hangout chat. I'm posting it right now. So yeah,
Okay,
again,
cool.
just reinforcing it. We're gonna announce our first service for the Aavegotchi community, and we are also gonna announce our next service. It's gonna be pretty important for us because we hope to get community feedback on those products, see that we are, building on the right direction. So definitely come join the Twitter space. We will be, answering questions from the community, inviting people to the space to talk about what we're doing, and hopefully everyone will have a good time. We'll also be giving away a spacious, no, not a spacious, sorry, reasonable parcel.
You said it. That's awesome, Renani. Yeah, we'll definitely be able to make it over there. It's looking forward to what you guys are gonna introduce. Y'all been working real hard.
Thanks, Hernani.
Thanks, everyone.
I have a question, Coder Dan, because I don't think we actually got an answer, but just a simple answer. The public whitelist, the public limitation on Gotchi lending, what happens next? Are we just going to keep it in place?
Yeah, so I mean, what we said we can do a poll now and see what the general consensus is on it. If it's still like 50-50 like it was, we can probably just revert it. And if let's just, I guess, see what the general consensus is over. Obviously, probably not enough representation in this one call. But one option, like we've mentioned, would be to do a default of 1, but then we could check your balance of parcels and then give you extra capacity based on that, which I think would cover a lot of the cases. Obviously, it's not going to cover your full power user case, but it would definitely be better than like 1, where you currently are.
I thought you said you didn't want to do that.
Yeah, I'm just one person, so like anything is whatever. I'll work with whatever you bring up. I just want to know what kind of I like both of those ideas, honestly.
Could we maybe get an allowance to rent Gotchis based on how many parcels you have?
Yeah, that's what we're talking
Basically
about.
what he was saying. Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
Yeah, but Dan, I thought you said you didn't want to go that route.
I didn't. There was I think we were talking about a little bit more dynamic, where it was like it wasn't 1-to-1, but if that
I
shouldn't
would.
be too hard. There's
I
like
I,
maybe,
Even
I had
if it
mentioned
wasn't
it's an
one to
altar
one,
level.
yeah, even if it's not 1-to-1, like I mean, it's a limitation. But even if I got like 3-to-1, like some kind of split where I can get like at least 10, then that kind of gives me some leeway. But I mean, it's whatever we decide is fine.
I mean, shouldn't we have like an official vote now that like this is being tested out and stuff?
yeah, I mean, we can do a full sick prop. I just want to do a quick proposal to see where we are as a community. Like right now, we got 107 people, 173 on the call. So it'd be good to see where we are first, and then we can, if we want to do a major long-term change, we can do a sick prop.
I think that's more than fair.
But the reason we wanted to do this like test just was because like with alchemical channeling and the test, the prop that the DAO made, like there was a lot of people saying, oh, they were like saying they, in hindsight, maybe they shouldn't have done it. So I think it was good to be able to see what it would feel like before we did like a sick prop. So I'm going to drop this poll here.
Everyone was going conspiracy theory on the last poll because you didn't vote in one of them. They were like, "Oh, Dan's trying to influence the vote." I'm like, he probably just forgot to click on one of them.
I had to make 2 of them, I think. Right? I think I added the fire and the link cube, maybe.
Yeah, you didn't add the heart,
Oh.
which meant to keep the change, and everyone's like, "Oh, Dan's being held hostage." Like it was crazy. I'm like, he probably just forgot to click on one of them.
Yeah, because someone else did that first, and I was like, okay, I don't need to do it. You guys need to stop going to conspiracy theories.
I'll say I already minted the tweet where Bearded called me unemployed and a drug user into an NFT that I'll distribute to my other NFT holders. It's a fun one. It's on Polygon.
Silver lining, man.
Everybody.
All right, I'm gonna do that, and then the cube. Make sure I vote on all of them this time. There we go. Go for it, friends.
Ooh, look at that puppy fly.
So, yeah, like I had messaged you about though, like it would be too hard to factor in your altar levels as well. Or maybe,
let me think.
Like you get more for a spacious than you would for a humble or something like that.
Are you talking about per? Because altar
Well,
levels are per parcel, right? So if someone has 80 parcels, we have to do 80 runs, 80 loops of the contract to get the altar level for each parcel, and then we have to look up we get the altar ID, then we have to look up the level from that. And so for someone like No Futuristic that has 80 parcels, we'd have to do 80 loops, which is for a right transaction, it's super heavy.
Okay, so it would be more work, is what you're saying.
It would be a lot more work, and it would we'd have to prevent that loop. We would have to basically add in another whole like it's called a mapping. Basically, it would keep track of the altar level of for each wallet address, and so that would add a gas cost to every transaction that we make. So it'd be like 20,000 more gas for maybe more for keeping track of that. So not really efficient, and I don't know really if it's that needed.
Well, I mean, someone like me, I don't have many parcels, but I have like I'm getting like a level 7 altar, so I only have like 2 parcels, but I can channel like 8 or 9 gotchis a day. So, but I mean, I can work around. It's fine.
Yeah, and if someone has like 1,000 parcels, it would probably revert. It would we wouldn't even be able to process that on the smart contract. Generally, it's not a great idea to do a bunch of loops in a right function. So Caesar's raising a point here. I think he's saying if we do it based on number of parcels, he said this would kill lending gotchis to your MetaMask wallet My
Th- th-
MetaMask
this is-
wallet has 0 parcels, but all my gotchis. Are you trying to
this is-
rent? Sorry, I'm just
Well, I was
asking.
gonna say,
Is he
this is
trying to
only for
rent a
public.
gotchi? Yeah, yeah. You could always whitelist yourself if you wanted
Yeah.
to do that. Yeah. When I rent a gotchi to my hot wallet, I always use a whitelist. Like you should never be, if you're trying to do that, you should never like just do it on the open market. Yeah, we're only talking about the public whitelist here.
You like just on from me, like when you said public whitelist initially, it completely confused me. So like when you use the word whitelist,
Yeah.
it threw me off.
Yeah, like the public list. Yeah, so public whitelist is no whitelist. It's public for everyone. Yeah, the open market. And M. Sanchez, you can't channel rented with that model. Yeah, you can. So as long as you set your parcel access rights to allow a borrower to channel, then you can channel on your parcels. How long roughly would it take to implement the new borrow limit parameters? It should just be a pretty light, quick upgrade. Shouldn't be too hard. I'll have to check the code, but it shouldn't be that difficult.
I feel like this is a good middle ground. It seems like it's the overwhelming majority of the vote so far. So
yeah, I think this hits a lot of the edge cases. Well, it's not going to cover 250, but and just go buy some more land, right?
yeah, I mean it adds use case for land, for having more land, which isn't a bad thing.
It just de-incentivizes upgrading altars.
I mean, to some extent, there's already incentive to do it based on like better yields from farming and like if you can get whitelists, it's better for whitelist rentals. Currently, there isn't much use case for having multiple parcels. Like, I mean, you're doing it, but you also have to put in a lot of work. So,
It's not working for others.
Okay. I mean, it takes a lot of time. Whereas like other things, like I mean, you should get rewarded for what you're doing. So.
Well, I'm going to use some of my free time and work on that. I think that's a more productive use of my time.
Crypto Gotchi says the one gotchi limit on public was meant to prevent wallets to just rent a lot of gotchis and not channel them. With plus parcels, this becomes an issue again. Kind of, but I mean, a lot of the time, like those guys probably didn't have a ton of land parcels, right? They're they're kind of empty wallets that were just getting on whitelists or what were they doing? I guess some of them, they were just picking up all the gotchis they could because they wanted to.
Yeah,
some
so
of them were using them for various purposes.
So like I was saying before, like what bots were doing was just renting these gotchis from the vault, and they didn't have their own land, they didn't have their own gotchis, but because these gotchis are in the vault, they could use the vault gotchis and the vault land and just channel them essentially for free. Like this is what I've this is what I've been doing for the past few days. I haven't been botting it, but I've been doing it manually, and you get like 0.4, 0.5 ghost per channel. Sure, you have to pay a bit of gas fees, but like you're still making 60, 70 cents per channel for just clicking a couple buttons. And if bots can scoop them all up, then there's none for anybody else to do.
Yeah. So it's not likely that all these bots are going to have like 100 land parcels, right?
I mean, they might move to that because it might be so profitable. Like that could be an issue, is that the bots who are doing this just start scooping up enough land for them to be able to get all the gotchas that they need at reset or leading up to reset, and just continuing to do this.
But then they're asset owners.
It's true.
I've done a lot of automation on this space, on the plate run space, and I must warn that it's very dangerous for bots to do that, because if you have address in your wallet, you can be blacklisted, right? Or the game can identify your assets and can make them non-tradable, non-listed on the market, things like that. That has happened in Axie, Pegaxi, and many other games. So yeah, but it's a possibility, right?
We did discuss that when Goobs got hacked. We did discuss it internally. We're like, because we had actually a decent opportunity of time to, if we wanted to, like we could have done that, but we did not want to take unilateral action on that. But it is something that if like in a situation where someone gets hacked and the assets are literally just in there and they could be frozen or gotten back, it's an ethical question at that point. But we did not want to do the unilateral action. But it is something that could be done.
Hacking is difficult because you have to prove the actual hacking, right? But for example, malicious botting is something that the platform can clearly identify and trace back to a wallet, right?
Well, I guess the hack, like if someone gets hacked, like if Goobs came to us, he's like, oh my God, all my stuff just got transferred out of my wallet. Can you guys do anything? And we just said, not really. And we're thinking, well, we could make a blacklist facet in the Aavegotchi diamond, and we could add that wallet, and then we could basically prevent any asset from being transferred from that wallet. They'd essentially be frozen there. But we didn't want to take that action because that's a huge step in terms of power over the protocol that we're not comfortable having. But
well,
it's a question for the DAO. Maybe if the DAO thought that we could want to do that in a case where there's an obvious botter and they're just abusing the protocol, it's a question to consider.
That's Hardcore's mentioning. I think it's a good exploratory topic. There's having like an SOP approved to give Pixelcraft like rapid response procedures that you could follow in these events.
Yeah. It's quite easy if we could just add a couple lines of code to the transfer from function of each of the NFTs and just say, oh, if you're on the list, you're out of luck. This can't be transferred. So good luck. Good luck trying to move stuff. We definitely had that window with the Goobs hack. You don't have that with everyone, but with him, we're literally communicating with the guy in the Gotchiverse, and we're able to help Goobs a lot out quite a bit. So it had an okay ending, but it's always lines to cross and always ethical things to consider with these kind of things.
Hey everyone, just thought I'd say g'day. I've been on stage for ages, but been listening away. But haven't had a chance to jump in, so just saying g'day.
What's going on, bud?
Welcome.
There's been a very robust discussion, which has been awesome across all different angles. So I think having a really good, healthy discussion about all sorts of things is great. And I think No Future mentioned earlier about it's very easy to get sort of text wars in situations, but actually having a conversation like this is so much easier because you can hear tone and you can hear the genuinism or the people explain stuff. And so I think these weekly calls are just awesome. That's just another reason why I love these weekly calls.
Yeah, totally agreed. If there's any issues to go over, definitely voice is the way to do it. Probably not Twitter flaming.
Just don't come at me on Twitter. That's it. We're not going to start that though. Let's keep it where it is.
I mean, we're not going to open it.
I thought it was interesting. My buddy tells me.
No. Let's not get into it.
All right. So
just do keep in mind, Twitter is a public stage. There might be people watching that are just like, oh, these guys are they're infighting. So be mindful that we are a community, and we don't want we do want to project an image to the public, and it's a good image. It's a true image.
I agree.
We are the friendliest community in crypto, and I would love to keep that.
We have to also recognize, and I'll say it blatantly, like there are people in the Gotchi Vault that are mad disrespectful in both the Discord. They were the ones that got disrespectful yesterday. So I mean, I am of the free will to smack back if someone hits me. So they, I posted something that was a thing that was open to discussion. I didn't put any I didn't hit anybody. I just put out a thing, and then they got heated. Mark Zeller started off very friendly, and then it kind of with the gulag jokes. But if you're gonna come at me, then be prepared to get hit back, because that's the game. We talk about PvP, like this is don't come on my Twitter talking and then expect me to just sit there. We have very disrespectful people in this community, and they're never really addressed.
As someone who I think I'm fairly neutral on the whole vault thing, I see the good and bad of it. There have been plenty of disrespect on both sides. Let's not say that the vault is disrespectful. There's been plenty on both sides to go.
That doesn't negate how disrespectful they are. I put up a post and wasn't being disrespectful. Moon stepped in. I mentioned conflict of interest. That's also before we started live here on my stream. That I'd take a puff for every time that was said. So it's the first time. So when they started coming at me, I'm of the free will to go back at them. So it's fine. It's fine.
Then you retweeted a post from Sassel saying, if we're not careful, the vault might make the Gotchi DAO a dino. Like, I'm pretty sure you started
what's
that
the problem with that? What's the problem with that? That's something we've discussed. Jared talks about it all the time. We talk about it in this Discord all the time. It was a good read. I thought it was a fair point. I don't see why, every time when we bring up safeguards, people get safeguards aren't for the good actors. They're for the bad actors. It shouldn't be that big a deal if we bring these things up. I'm not the only one that feels that way either, so I don't,
I mean, Moon replied to it and said it's on the public snapshot, and then you said, oh, it's funny to see Pixelcraft Studios employees defend the Gotchi Vault so hard. It makes you wonder. It sounds like you were
conflict of interest.
Most of it. It's not a conflict of interest.
It is though. It is.
It's not.
It is. It is.
But Sasso's post that you put up there, that wasn't addressing governance either. That's what I found was, and then
decentralization.
Like, why not go into the forum though and post that? Because that would be like a great place to have that conversation.
Why can't I post on my Twitter? Is my Twitter owned by Aavegotchi? I'm not Twitter now. I'm being told what I can post.
People were replying to you with like very level-headed stuff, and then you started by saying there's like a conflict of interest, and you were saying that like Moon is a vault shill. Like,
I didn't.
Moon just look at the tweet.
Moon said that himself. He's like, yes, I'm a vault shill, Bearded and Zeller. I didn't say that. I said, look, you should be chiller about it. You have a conflict of interest.
But he doesn't.
So,
that's
I mean, we can agree to disagree. I'm allowed to say that on my Twitter. You don't have any say over what I can and cannot say on my Twitter.
So I mean, there's this vibe through the community about this particular topic. There's a good forum discussion on it, about 38 long or so. But I want to know, like, from you as someone who's on the other side of this issue from me, like, what's your solution? What should we do?
Sir, I don't know what the solution is. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't have conversation. I'm just saying people being disrespectful, so look at what me and Zeller were doing. He was answering questions. I was asking questions back. Moon came in.
That didn't last. That didn't last. That deteriorated too, and that definitely didn't stay peaceful.
He mentioned that it's I shouldn't be able to invest my assets. Hey man, it's your hustle. My Twitter is my Twitter. You're able to do whatever you want, but it's my Twitter. Like, what are you gonna You're gonna stop me from having open discourse on my Twitter?
Not at all. No, it's just a public visibility thing. It's about an association thing. Is from my point of view. That's my issue. Is I associate with you.
I'm a Gotchi asset
not even just. I mean, that's Gotchi Gang, sure, but this is also GMI too. Like, this is for me, it's a closeness to me.
GMI is a separate entity for me.
Absolutely, but you I understand that you hold that opinion, but as someone that I feel is represented by GMI, I feel like you are responsible for a portion of my representation, and so I hate to see that kind of expression on the public scene.
I told you that before. I am my own entity. What I do with GMI is what I do with GMI. What I do for myself is what I do for myself. My Twitter, that's my Twitter. I said we didn't have to get into this. You can get into this. You have no say over what I do on Twitter. If you want to disassociate with me, you did it with Addison already. Do it with me. I don't care. I haven't done anything hot enough for you to want to do that. But if that's the way you feel, I'm fine with that. I've already complained about you and decentralization within GMI also. We can talk about that too. But you're not going to sit here and tell me what I can do on my Twitter.
That's not what people are doing. What people are saying is that they have the ability to respond back to that. It's the same thing.
And so do I. So do I.
There's nothing.
Can we just move on from this? We're really going nowhere, and this is supposed to be about the DAO. I mean, not the DAO.
Absolutely. And so again, we can go back to that. What's the issue of the threat to the DAO?
I think it's a slippery slope, and a lot of this stuff going on right now, I think people have the right to have questions. People have the right to worry, because if something happened in the end to where, eventually the vault did have too much power or this and that, and nobody brought anything up, like you said, there's a whole discussion about it. So, but at the end of the day, I think that there's no reason to go any further with this. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the question. We still have the issue of the DAO attack. And so what's the solution here?
The solution is just a peaceful one, I think. I think that we should be able to talk in peace, and maybe, things don't need to be heated as much on Twitter. I mean, obviously, No Future has money invested in this as well, and he doesn't want to hurt the project. So I don't think anybody's intent was to hurt the project. I think just some things got heated on Twitter when it was probably more better to get heated in here to keep it more in-house, is what Coder Dan was saying and stuff like that. But other than that, I just think it's a good time to just talk about, just keeping everything chill.
I mean, I brought this up a couple weeks ago during the proxy voting discussion in the DAO. We had a brief discussion about it on Sunday, and it wasn't about the vault. It's not about the Gotchi vault. The Gotchi vault, we should be actually glad to have the Gotchi vault, to be honest. With what they've done so far, nobody's put in the work to do that. And the door is open to do that, right? I think a lot of their code is open source. And so, nobody stopped from building another Gotchi vault. The conversation, that was the most relevant part of that conversation is, with addressing proxy voting and having a malicious actor, not the Gotchi vault. We should be thankful we have someone who has, that amount of voting power and has OG members of our community that have been invested as much as we are.
I would say not everybody agrees with that. Clearly, if you look at the chat, not everybody agrees with that sentiment.
True, but it still addresses the core of the issue without getting all personal about it. Everyone has their gripes with each other, but you got to look at the core of the issue and be solution focused. Taking jabs at each other.
Twitter. I don't understand why I can't do as I please on my Twitter.
You can do whatever you can, whatever you please. You can do that. It has implications both ways, and if you're cool with that, then you're cool with that.
I'm cool with that.
All right,
I have no problem with that. Are you gonna blacklist my assets? I'm not really that worried. Trust me.
Oh no, it's not about your assets. It's just whatever you want to do, however you want people to perceive you. That's your call, bro. You can put whatever you want on your Twitter. It's gonna have implications.
I'm fine with the way I'm perceived. I will question when I see questions. I will be objective. You want to make this a game, it's just a game. No, it's game 5. It's finance fault.
But your threat.
So whenever people have questions and are asking good questions and we shoot them down and we get all defensive, that's problematic. And I'm going to continue doing that no matter what anybody here says, because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm an ambassador. Maybe I'm not anymore. I don't really care. The point is, I cover this project. And when I cover this project, I told GMI the same damn thing. We're supposed to be objective. We cover this and we're supposed to be honest. If you can't do that, that's fine. I'm going to do that. I don't really care if you don't support it.
I disagree that thread was objective. Both ways. Your way and what else was said from everyone else.
That thread was that thread. That thread is a whole different thing. In general, though, what I said about the end of, this whitelisting public stuff, that was, what it was. When I'm saying about the vault, I have my issues with the vault. Other people have their issues with the vault. Bearded is a jerk. He comes on Twitter and starts mouthing off. If he has a problem and I want to say something, I'm going to say something. Don't try me. You guys can't control that, and you should understand that. And like I said, unless you're planning on blacklisting my assets, this is all stupid.
Yeah, you're free to do whatever you want. Nobody's saying don't tweet.
It's your Twitter, man. But if like, yeah, there's people are gonna react to how you handle your Twitter. That's
there's
all
implications.
we're saying.
My engagement, it's my Twitter. If I bring up something about the Gotchi Vault and Gotchi Vaulters come in and start, fighting with me, I'm allowed to fight back. And if I get, I'll call out someone's conflict of interest. Maybe that is not the best thing for everybody else, but don't sit there and act like it's not there. I'm not playing that game. Sorry.
But I mean, you got such a strong opinion on it. Why not go into the forum and be like, yo, this is a fucking problem. Like, let's get into
Twitter
it.
is a forum. Twitter is a public forum.
It's probably not the best place for that. It's probably not the best place for that.
Twitter can affect all of our assets, and that's why everybody's talking about it. And obviously, No Future is very well directly linked to Aavegotchi, so I think people are more worried that he might have some negative sentiment in the community and maybe newcomers coming in. And obviously, No Future can do whatever he wants because he has money involved in here too. And I just think that, some people are just more worried, again, financially with the game, that No Future's negative comments are going to affect their money. Doesn't that have everything to do with everything else too? With it being a financial investment and everything else?
I mean,
and like being an ambassador, that does carry a certain role in the community. If people, if they know you're an ambassador and then you're out there like flaming people, that reflects badly on the community. So
how about the Gotchi Vault managers flaming people on Twitter? They do it all the time. This is the first time I've gotten into it. How Bearded disrespects Real Slim Smarty all the time. That we don't address that. Literally, Jesse messaged me when I'm in the middle of this stuff with them. Did Bearded get a message? Did any Gotchi Vault? Did Mark Zeller get a message? No, I got a message. Like, what is that?
On the other end, what about the other guys? Like, what about everybody in the vault that commented back? I mean, I didn't read it all, but I mean, like, isn't there two sides to every story?
Yeah, and I'm fine if people want to flame each other, but don't come at me if I have no off button. I don't care. If you're gonna come at me, be prepared for war. That's just what it is. Like, you can't disrespect people and think it just run the vault. Like, get the fuck out of here.
I think what Dan was saying, though, No Future is more or less, when you tied Pixelcraft in there and you tied a couple other things in there that maybe
Moon tied Pixelcraft in there. I did not mention Pixelcraft until Moon stepped in. I stand by that.
You literally added Moon, dude. Yeah,
I did not add Moon in the post. When did I add Moon in the post?
You added Pixelcraft.
I added Pixelcraft when Moon stepped in and commented. My original post did not add anybody. I didn't even add the said that this could be a problem for the DAO. Moon stepped in, and then I said, "Hey,
we're gonna move on. I have to get off. It's midnight, but yeah, I'm sorry. It's sad we ended it on this way, but it is what it is. You got your Twitter. Do your thing, man.
I appreciate that permission.
Hey, you guys have a wonderful day. Is there any other alpha that might be shared at the end to make everybody happy again? So I feel a little sad. I'm getting high.
No, I mean, we've got an awesome community. This community is amazing, and if there is any discussion about the custodial assets, we will be having the DAO Hangout tomorrow, and there's a lot of discussion happening on how we should be handling proxy voting, and also whether or not people that are using these custodial systems should be receiving XP for it, which is that's one of the issues as well, just to go over. So
yeah,
definitely tune in tomorrow for that. It's going to be a good discussion.
Before you leave, Dan, do the people in the vault get XP? Because we've been told different things. Like, have you actually confirmed that or not?
I think they do right now. The only time they don't get XP is for the type forms. It's like if we have like a type form and you have to fill that in as an individual, not from like the Gotchi Vault. But I think
if the Gotchi Vault fills it out, what if the Gotchi Vault fills it out with their wallet address? Don't you give every Gotchi in there?
we exclude that
cool.
wallet.
Cool. That makes sense. And that way everybody participating gets that XP because they participated. I think that was the big part. So.
But currently, the vault gotchis, they are receiving XP for voting.
I got a question about petting. Do you think, like, I know in the beginning when I got into this, I read that when the petting bots get ridiculous and everybody just has them in there, you guys might do something about that, or have you guys already had that discussion and you guys are just going to keep them?
Petting bots are it's a permissionless protocol, so they're following the rules. Like they're not breaking the rules. The Gotchiverse is a game that we're creating from Pixelcraft.
In the original talk though, that you guys put out and everything, you guys had put in somewhere that I read that if the bot gets ridiculous and everybody's just having their stuff inside there to just be pet, so they get that kinship, it really doesn't do anything for the game, because I like to pet my gotchis and I go in there and I feel a part of them. And, that's one of the things when I read that I thought would happen once, eventually the game grew so much that should be inherent. Otherwise, I don't think kinship should have that much value when all you have to do is put it in something and let it go, because that's the same thing as this XP, and coming in and participating to these things, you're given XP. I think maybe the kinship for people with bots should drop in half or something. You know what I mean? If you want extra,
no way to check if it's a bot or not. So it's that's the fun part about like permissionless protocols. You can't really tell if it's a bot or a human, like using a smart contract.
But you could tell whether or not they're put into one of those contracts, right?
And they could just keep moving them around.
Okay. Well, you know what I mean? I just think that, with kinship given so much, priority in the game and everything, I just don't, that was one of my biggest things. I just don't see how the bots make that, part of the gameplay. I think that should be more taken away then, because, I just don't see how that should be part of gameplay when you don't do anything for it.
Yeah, head to the DAO forum. We can get that conversation moving there.
Very cool. Because
if there's a strong opinion from the community about that.
Do you remember when you guys had, your original literature that you guys had said that, or no?
I don't remember that from was that in the original white paper? I do. I think I know we had some memes before about the Gotchi walking surfaces, which is pretty much the same thing.
Doesn't kinship get more of the rarity farming than the XP?
Yeah, it currently does. It gets
20%. and that shouldn't be if you don't have to do anything for it. You know what I mean? The whole key behind it is if you don't have to do anything for something, why should you get a reward for it? In game, everything else that I'm doing in this game, I have to do something for. And these other people that don't have to do anything to get this kinship, it's just ridiculous, I think. But you're right. I put it in the DAO form if I knew how to do that.
Sweet friends, I'm gonna head out here. Always glad to have the great hangout, and looks like it went really smooth for everyone in the game today. The devs have been pushing a lot of optimizations for especially the spillover, and trying to not have that queue build up. So was the experience pretty smooth today for everyone?
Oh yeah.
Everything
it
was smooth,
dropping
man.
instantly.
Awesome. I love the boost. After 3 weeks, I finally figured out that I could boost myself around. So
you're like,
that
how
was
does
really
Coder
cool.
Dan keep escaping me?
Honestly, that was what was happening. I was trying to catch up to you, and you kept being gone. I was like, what the hell did he go? Oh man, that was definitely fun. And then my finger slipped and hit the shift button, and I got a boost. I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, that was pretty cool though.
You accidentally found it. That's funny.
Yeah, I did. I accidentally found it. And then I was like, what button did I push? And I'm hitting the buttons and I'm trying to figure it out. So I was like, what the fuck was that? So that was really cool.
Which one's the any key? I need the hack codes.
The any key?
Yeah, I'm just taking the piss, man.
All right, friends. Have a great Saturday. See you on Sunday for the Dow call.
Hey, you guys all
later.
have a wonderful weekend and stay
tomorrow.
blessed. Say have a good day.
Yo,
See you,
FaZe, I
Dan.
see you, man. FaZe, I see you.
There you go.
Take it easy, no future. Have faith,
Take it
everybody.
easy. I'll be in the Gotchiverse extracting. I'll see you guys later.
Mr. Birds.